Well, first off, on behalf of the Ohio Pork Council, let me just go ahead and welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us. For everybody on here, just so you're aware, you are live streaming across the state here with 240 young minds and a couple of pork producers, and obviously Dan Tolan, our IT guy. So glad to have this great crowd here. As we get started here, you guys are all going to be joining Lauren Schwab, who's one of our pork producers, on a virtual field trip to her farm, and you're going to get to see a lot of great things. And I wanted to make sure everybody's aware this program is, we're able to do this live video chat and share this information with you guys across the state because some of our great partners from Farm Credit Mid-America, the Ohio Soybean Council, Cargill, and the National Pork Board have all partnered with us to give us the financial resources to be able to bring this to your classroom. Dan, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead, and I think it'd be a great idea if we introduced our classes here. So first, we have Miss Wolf's first grade class from Cornerstone Academy in Westerville. If you guys want to wave at everybody. There you are. Great. We also have Miss Mark's first grade class from Cornerstone Academy in Westerville. And Miss Beck's first grade class from Cornerstone Academy in Westerville.
Look at the computer.
There.
Look, say hi.
We also have a kindergarten class from Cornerstone Academy in Westerville, Miss Bacchus's class. Excellent. We also have Jackie Birchtold's third grade class from Highland Drive Elementary in Brecksville, Ohio.
Go, guys.
Hey. Excellent. And Miss Bly's fourth grade class from Liberty Christian Academy in Pataskala. We also have Mr. Mandansky's first grade class from Grove Patterson Academy in Toledo, but they don't have a webcam, so if they can still give us a shout out on the chat side there, and I'm sure they will. Now, you guys didn't come here to listen to me talk, so I'm going to turn over to Lauren Schwab, who is a pork producer from Ohio here, and she's going to walk you through what she does day to day on her farm, and then we're going to open up to questions from everybody. So without further ado, Lauren, would you like to take it away?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm excited that you get to see the piglets on my farm today. So my dad is a first-generation pig farmer. That means he started our farm all by himself in the 1970s, and he loved taking care of pigs. And he decided he wanted to make it a business to help take care of the animals and to feed people all around the world. And so I was fortunate to be born onto our pig farm, and I've been working in the barn ever since I was a little girl, learning how to take care of the piglets. And you may think that pigs are easy to take care of, but it's actually a lot of hard work. And so I'm going to show you some of the piglets now and tell you about my day and why they're in a barn like this. So as you can see, these are some piglets that I take care of. They are 4 days old. But we have lots of pigs on our farm. There's lots of mothers, and they're called sows. And those mothers give birth to these piglets. And so it's my responsibility to take care of them until they're about 2.5 to 3 weeks old. And so right now, they're only about a few pounds when they're born, and they can get up to 15 pounds just in a couple of weeks. And then we'll take them on to another farmer, and that farmer raises them until they're ready for market. And so I specialize in giving the best care to them when they're young. You can see here in the barn, they have a nice warm heat lamp to lay under. It's important that the piglets stay nice and warm. It's also important that they stay dry. Also, their mom is really big. Right now, she is eating her food. I'll tell you a little about the food. She has her own feeder that she gets to eat from, so she doesn't have to share with anyone else. And she eats a combination. I have a bucket right here. I'll show you some of the feed. You see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's corn and soybean meal with lots of vitamins and minerals in it. So just like if you take a daily vitamin every day, they get all the vitamins they need into this feed that we mix up ourselves on the farm. We get the corn and the soybeans from local farmers, and then we'll grind it up so it's easy for them to eat. You can see she's really enjoying it right now. And she has her own pen with her piglets, and she's centered in the middle, and that's so she lays down slowly and she can see all her piglets and doesn't accidentally lay on a piglet. So they're all safe. They get to run around, and then she's there at all times whenever they want some milk to drink. And she also, you can see it, okay? She has a water to drink from whenever she wants, just like if you go out to the drinking fountain, she can push down on this and get fresh water whenever she wants. And so this is why it's good that they're inside, so I can keep a close eye on them every day. So this morning I went through and I fed all the mother pigs, and they get a certain amount each day. It's important they get the right amount in order to provide enough milk for their piglets. They need about 5 pounds for themselves, plus an additional pound of feed for every piglet. So they need to eat a lot. And then there's a lot of piglets being born today. So I counted how many piglets were on each mother when it was born. Does anyone, could we maybe have someone take a guess how many piglets this mom has? Is that possible?
Let's go to Miss Beck's class. There's some hands up there. Let's see how many they've got, Dan.
What do you guys think? How many, Cadence, how many do you think? 15.
15. Okay, and other guesses?
10.
10. All right. Lauren, we've got a guess of 15 and a guess of 10. How many?
That's really good. It's about right in the middle. She has 12 piglets right now.
Good work, Cornerstone.
Yeah. Usually they have around 12 or 13 piglets. And sometimes they give birth to only a few piglets, and sometimes they give birth to almost 20 piglets. And one cool thing about mama pigs is they'll take on other babies that aren't their own and nurse them. So if there were 10 litters of pigs today, I could even them up in numbers and put all the same size piglets on one mom together. And so that way they all get milk. We save all the little runt pigs. Have any of you heard of the runt pig? You've seen a movie maybe like Charlotte's Web? Well, we take care of all the little runt pigs so they grow up big too. It just takes them a longer. Let's see. So yeah, it's really important to keep the pigs inside today because pigs are really sensitive to weather. They can get really cold, they can get really hot, and they can also get a cold or the flu like us. And so we want to make sure they stay healthy all the time. And as you can see, these piglets are nice and comfortable, laying under their heat lamp together. Pigs like to sleep a lot and play all day.
I think that's a great question. Lauren, do you mind if we maybe go over to Highland Drive Elementary, Miss Birchtold's class? How many hours do you think a pig sleeps a day on average, class? 5 hours? Any other guesses? 6 hours? Well, Dan actually did some research for us, and we found out that the average pig sleeps 9 to 11 hours a day throughout its life. But Lauren, how many hours do you think they sleep in your farm when they're baby pigs like that?
They definitely sleep most of the day.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great to sleep all day like that? Yeah. Lauren, Dan, I think Dan has a picture of the outside of your farm. Maybe we could show the class the family there, and then show the picture outside of the barn. So you guys can see the baby pigs here, and you can see the mom pigs there also. But Dan's gonna pull a picture so you can see what the outside looks like. So that's Lauren, her dad, and her brother there outside of their farm. And then these are the outsides of the barn that Lauren's in. So she's you'll see those giant grain bins there, those deals on the legs where the mouse is over right now. That's where they store the grain and then the feed that they're gonna turn around and make for the pigs that Lauren showed you earlier. That's made out of corn and soybeans. Then you have another picture there, right? And then that's the other side of the operation. And you see that there's fans there to make sure those pigs get fresh air and that they keep air moving through there to make sure that it stays nice and fresh in there. And then you'll see there's a lot of concrete down below. Lauren, where do the pigs go to the bathroom there?
That is a good question. So if you look at this floor, there's slats in it. So that way when they go to the bathroom, it goes through the slats and there's a big pit, like a hole underneath the barn in the ground. And so it can be stored there and the pigs stay nice and clean. Later, it can be pumped out using a big tractor and tank and used as a natural fertilizer on the soil to help enrich the nutrients of the soil or help with growing crops.
That's right. So Lauren, you guys use that manure to help grow corn and soybeans that then goes back to feed the pigs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're kind of you're recycling there. So you guys in your classrooms probably have recycling bins. It's similar there. We're taking the byproducts, the manure from these pigs, and using it to grow corn and soybeans to turn around and feed them. So kind of an original recycler there. Lauren, would you mind if we open it up to a few questions from the classes?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. I'm gonna start with a couple that we got from Mr. Mandansky's first grade class in Grove Patterson Academy, and then we're gonna kind of move down through the list here. So if everybody wants to think of a few questions, that'd be great. Once I get done with these, we'll go to Miss Wolf's first grade classroom in Cornerstone Academy. But first, one of the questions we got from Mr. Mandansky's class from Joseph was, how do pigs communicate with each other, Lauren?
That's a good question. They make a lot of different noises. They make little oinks or grunts. They make squeals. And so sometimes you can tell what they're asking for. The mama sows, in the morning time, they'll make lots of loud squeals because they're really hungry. That's the way they communicate with us.
Great. The other question one from Alea was how long, in Mr. Mandansky's class, was how long do pigs sleep? And I think we got that one. They sleep a lot, don't they? They sleep a lot. So, all right, we'll turn it over to Miss Wolf's first grade class in Cornerstone Academy there. If there's a couple of questions, we'd like to open it up to you folks to ask them of Lauren or myself. Just step up the microphone so we can hear you if you could.
So do pigs sometimes ever get tired? And if they're outside and if it's warm enough, do they ever get tired of mud?
That's a great question, Lauren. I don't know if you heard it, but she asked if your pigs ever get tired of being in the mud or outside.
That's a good question. So when my dad first started our farm, all our pigs were outside, and they did have to roll around in the mud and get cooled off because it was really hot outside. And pigs can easily get overheated. So that's why we moved our pigs inside so that they didn't have to worry about finding a mud hole to get cooled off in. So right now the barns are always 70 to 80 degrees. We have a temperature control, and I could show you kind of a bigger view of the barn. There's a big fan up in the ceiling, and that blows air on them and keeps them cooled off. So now they just get to lay around and they don't have to find mud.
Yeah. Is there another question from Miss Wolf's class?
One more.
Yeah.
How long do pigs live?
That's a great question, Lauren. The question was, how long do pigs live?
That is good. So pigs grow really fast. The mama pigs, they'll be full grown in less than a year, and they'll probably live anywhere at least 5 years old, maybe 6 if they're really old. But yeah, their lifespan's much shorter than ours. And when pigs are ready for market, they're already 300 pounds and around 6 months old. So they grow really fast.
I think actually, Lauren, if you don't mind, Dan has a slide on that shows how fast pigs grow. So we'll go ahead and show that to everyone because that's a great question. So when baby pigs are born, like the ones you're seeing here, they're going to weigh somewhere around 2 to 3 pounds. And at about 4 weeks old, they're going to be 15 to 20 pounds. So if you guys have ever held a gallon of milk or a gallon of water, it would be 15, 20 pounds would be about 2 of those in just 4 weeks. At 8 weeks, about 40 to 60 pounds. They're about the size of your average kindergartner. And then at 6 months, they are about 270 to 285 pounds in there. So they grow within 6 months. So about the time you guys have been in school this year, or a little bit less, they've gone from 2 to 3 pounds to 270 pounds. So they do grow pretty fast. So that's a great question. Do we have another one from Miss Wolf's class? After this class, we'll go to Miss Mark's first grade class and ask some questions. So go ahead, sir.
Do baby pigs have daddy pigs?
Great question, Lauren. The question was, do the baby pigs have a daddy pig? That's a great question. We get that one a lot.
Yes, they do have daddy pigs, but the dad doesn't need to be with the piglets all the time. They need their mom all the time in order to get milk. So the dads aren't in this barn right now.
That's right. Yeah, great question. All right, we're going to switch over to Miss Mark's first grade class at a Cornerstone Academy and see if they have a question for us.
Do pigs get medicine if they are sick?
That's an excellent question. We get that question a lot, don't we, Lauren?
Yes.
Do pigs get the medicine if they're sick?
Yeah, so we have a veterinarian, and if you don't know, veterinarian is a doctor for animals, and he comes to our farm all the time to make sure that our pigs are healthy. And if he knows a pig is sick, he can prescribe us some medicine to give that piglet. But we make sure we use the right amount. We follow all of his rules and guidelines, and that medicine is out of their system long gone before they go to market. So yes, we can treat a piglet if it's sick to help it get healthy.
That's a great question. All right, do we have a couple more for Miss Mark's class?
Lloyd Steen. Oh.
Do you keep any pigs for a pet?
Yeah, Lauren, that's a great question. Yes, if you keep any of those pigs for a pet.
We don't keep any piglets for pets because we want them to be able to go on to be food and feed people and run our business as a farm. And so, but that's a good question because I know people have pigs as pets.
They do. They do. I think we'll take, I think we have time for another question from Miss Mark's class, and then we'll move on to Miss Becker's class from Cornerstone Academy for a few questions. So go ahead.
Do pigs ever eat like different foods except slop?
That's a good question. So the question is, Lauren, do they eat anything other than slop and what you're feeding them there?
Oh, yeah. Well, they just eat the corn and soybeans like I showed you. Let me show you again. So they don't eat slop, which slop is a bunch of different type of foods that farmers a long time ago used to give pigs. But pigs are much healthier today. They're much leaner, and pork is much healthier for us to eat because we feed them good corn and soybeans.
Yeah, that's a great question, though. We get that one a lot, too. People think we still feed them slop. And there's some folks who do, but most of them are feeding corn and soybeans nowadays, aren't they, Lauren?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll move on to Miss Becker's first grade class at Cornerstone Academy there for a few questions. Hi.
What type of pigs do you have?
Yeah, Lauren, what type of pigs do you have there?
Yeah, there's different breeds of pigs. The mama pigs are landrace and Yorkshire, so they can be different kinds of breeds, but they're known for being good moms.
That's a great question. And there's many different types of breeds of pigs, aren't there? But the ones that we typically see around commercial operations tend to be what you're seeing here. So do we have another question from Miss Becker's class?
Do pigs bite people?
It's a great question. Lauren, do pigs bite people?
No, our pigs don't bite people. They like to chew. Sometimes if I stick my boot near a pig, it might chew on my boot.
Lauren's pigs may not bite, but I've been bit by a pig. So if you guys are out at the state fair or your county fairs, I wouldn't recommend sticking your fingers in there. They're nibbling on stuff, might hurt a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions from Miss Becker's class?
One more.
Yeah.
Can pigs die if they do not get in water or mud?
That's a great question. Are you Joey? We had that question from your class, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lauren, the question is, if pigs don't have water or mud to get into, will they get too hot and die?
Well, they always need water, and so that's why we have the waters like I showed you in the barn. But they don't need mud. Here, I'll show you the water again. I can see. But they don't need mud because they're inside and we have fans to blow on them and keep them cool.
Yeah. I think, and that's a great follow-up question, because one of the other questions that we received earlier from Miss Becker's class was, why don't pigs sweat? And that's a great question. Pigs don't have what are called sweat glands. So when you kids are out running around a lot and you feel the moisture on your face, that's because there's pores in your body that are excreting sweat to help you stay cool. Pigs don't have that ability. And so before we moved them inside to these nice cool buildings like Lauren's showing you here, they did roll around in mud and water in order to stay cool like that. Now, because of these barns that Lauren's showing you here, where it's a nice cool temperature inside with fans blowing on them and access to water all day, they don't need to have the same access to mud and water. And actually, you can see here, pigs by themselves are usually very clean animals. And so the only reason they were in the mud and water to begin with was find a way to stay cool. And so normally they're very clean animals, believe it or not. So I think we've got time for one more question from Miss Becker's class, and then we'll move on to the Miss Box's kindergarten class from Cornerstone Academy.
Matt, come on over, Matt. All right, got one more coming over.
Yeah.
Why are pigs alive?
Why are pigs alive? Sure, Lauren, you want to take that question?
Yeah, I can. So, just like we have lots of animals in the world, and pigs are able to give us joy and also go on to be food. And so that's what's great is they're able to help feed people all over the world.
Yeah, excellent. And Miss Box's kindergarten class, we'll take a few questions from you. And Mr. Mandinsky from Grove Patterson Academy, if you folks have questions, feel free to go ahead and toss them on the chat side here, and we'll be glad to take those while we're moving along here. So Miss Box's kindergarten class, if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Why do pigs sleep in a group?
That's a great question. Lauren, why do pigs sleep in a group?
Yeah, pigs really like to be around other pigs, and they like to cuddle. They like to stay warm together, and that's why.
Yeah. So and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes you'll see pigs kind of piling up on each other even when it's warm out. Is that because they're social creatures and like to be next to each other and feel each other while they're resting?
Yes.
Yeah, great. All right, do we have another question from Miss Box's class?
Do baby pigs drink water?
Do baby pigs drink water? That's a great question. Lauren, do the baby pigs also drink water?
Yes, they do. So when they're first born, they just drink milk. But as they get older, I'll see if I can show you. The mama's in front of it right now, but it may be hard to see. But there's a little, oh, she tried to get me. There's a little nipple down there where the piglets can drink from.
Yeah, so a little water fountain for them to be able to drink out of right there close to the ground. Yeah, great. We've got time for maybe one more question from Miss. Yeah, there it is, Miss Box's class there, and then we'll move on. I think we've got Miss Birchtold's class next. We'll hit up. So go ahead.
Does it hurt when they take their babies out?
Yeah, does it hurt when they take their babies out, Lauren?
Does it hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. The babies are really small, and they let us pick them up, and we give them right back to the mama when we need to just make sure that they're healthy and pick them up.
Great. Those are great questions. We're going to move on to Ms. Birchall's third grade class here at Highland Drive Elementary in a second, Lauren, but right now we have a question from Madison at Grove Patterson in Toledo. Do pigs hiccup? I don't know that I've ever heard a pig hiccup. Have you?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I also had a question from Henry at Grove Patterson. How do pigs pick a mate?
Oh, that's a good question. So I don't think they're very particular. When the girl pigs see a boy pig, I think they like them.
That's right. I think I think that's right. Yeah. We'll move on to Miss. If you've got other questions there, Mr. Mandansky, feel free to keep sending them over. We'll move on to Miss Birchall's third grade class at Highland Drive Elementary in Brecksville, Ohio. If you've got a question, we'd love to answer it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
How many pigs are on your farm?
Yeah, Lauren, how many pigs are on your farm?
There's a lot. There's about 1,200 mama pigs.
Wow.
And they have a group of them every other week of around 120 mama pigs will have piglets.
Wow, that's fantastic. Great, yeah. And Lauren, that's pretty average size for a farm in the state of Ohio, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some that's smaller and some bigger, but I would say we're an average mid-sized farm.
Yeah, I'd say so too. All right, we've got we've got time for a couple more questions from Highland Drive Elementary there, if you've got another one.
Go, read your question.
How is the meat turned into bacon?
That's a great question. Actually, Lauren, the question is, how is meat turned into the pigs turned into bacon? And we won't go into too much detail here, but I think Dan, do
Yeah.
you have a copy of the cutout here? We'll show you where these pieces come from. Yeah, that's a great question. So, like Lauren's alluded to, these pigs are going to grow up and they're going to get bigger and they're going to be used for food. So, where do the different parts of the pig come from? And so, what you have here, the bacon is that yellow part right there in the bottom. It's called the belly. And that's where your bacon comes from on a pig. And then the ham is the backside there, and the loin is up in the top. And then if you guys ever have pulled pork, like pulled pork sandwiches or pulled pork nachos, it's going to come from that Boston butt, shoulder, up in that area. You can also use a little bit of the rump back there, but most of it's going to be in the Boston and shoulder there. So that's a great question. But your bacon comes from what's called the belly of the pig. So yeah, great question. Do we have another one from Highland Drive?
Do any of your pigs go to the fair like Wilbur?
Yeah, Lauren, do any of your pigs go to the fair like Wilbur?
Oh yeah. Well, they don't anymore, but they used to. When I was younger, I used to take some of our pigs to the fair and show them.
Yeah. So one of the things that Lauren and her family work very hard on is something called biosecurity. It's a big word, but it means to be very careful about what you're bringing in and off the farm. So not many of the pigs from here may go to the fair. Other farms do. But Lauren, if they went to the fair, would they come back to your farm?
Yeah, it's a good question. No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're around lots of other pigs and they could get germs, and we don't want to bring them back and get any pigs sick at home.
Yeah, and that way, the young person who asked the question about using drugs before or medications before, if we don't have that interaction, we can keep pigs healthier without having to use any medication. So I think we got time for maybe a couple more questions from Highland Drive since they have such a big group there, and then we'll move on to Liberty Christian Academy. So Dan, if we've got any questions from Highland Drive there, we'll take a couple more.
Are all pigs' tails curly?
That's a great question. Lauren, are all of the pigs' tails curly? We see on your picture there that the babies definitely have long curly tails, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yep. They're all really long and curl different ways when they're born.
Mm-hmm. And they may not stay that way though. And you'll see on older pigs that they may not have long tails, but for now they're long and curly here, aren't they? So I think we got time for another maybe one more question from Highland Drive there, Dan.
Are there sicknesses that pigs get that humans can get too?
It's a great question, Lauren. Do you want to take the question about are there sicknesses that pigs can get that humans can get?
Yeah, just like we could get a cold or the flu, the pigs can get it too. And so that's why it's really important that if you're sick, you don't go around a pig because you could accidentally give them a cold if you have one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we'll move on. We've got time for a few questions here from Miss Bly's fourth grade class at Liberty Christian Academy in Pataskala, Ohio.
Stand in front of my computer so maybe you can see right there. There you go. Do pigs ever fight?
Yeah, Lauren, the question is, do pigs ever fight? Great question.
Yes, they can. If most of the time, it's if they have to share food. So before the mamas come in here to have their piglets, they're in big group pens together, and sometimes they'll fight when they are trying to get enough food. So we make sure that we spread it out, and we only put a certain number of pigs to a pen so that they don't fight.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we'll come back. We'll get a couple more from Liberty Christian Academy in just a second, Lauren. But we had another one from Grove Patterson, and their question was, do pigs ever get a bath?
Oh, so pigs could get a bath, but they don't need to have one on our farm because you can see how clean they are right now. And that's because of like what we said earlier, when they go to the bathroom, it goes through the floor. So they don't lay in it, they don't get dirty.
Yeah, that's a great question and great point. That's what pigs are generally clean animals when given the opportunity to be so. Yeah. So we'll go back to Liberty Christian Academy if you have a couple more questions. Yeah.
How long can pigs survive without food or water?
It's a
Oh,
great. Lauren?
yeah. Not long at all. Pigs need their food and water every single day. They couldn't last more than a few days without food and water.
Yeah, and Lauren, how many times or how many hours a day do you spend in the barn making sure that they've got access to clean food and water?
All day long.
Yeah,
And thankfully, because the waters, like I showed you, I just have to check them and they can have water whenever they want. But yeah, I spend the morning and the afternoon making sure they have plenty of feed.
yeah, yep. Spend a lot of time. Farmers spend a lot of time making sure their animals have access to all that. So great. We'll go back to Liberty Christian for another question there.
Are you able to tell the gender of a pig?
Lauren, how are you able to tell the gender of a pig?
Yes, I am. So we can look at the piglets, and it just depends on how they go to the bathroom. So girls, you can tell they have different parts than boys. So it's just
That's right.
able to tell when they're born.
Yep, yep. All right. Well, I think we have time for maybe a couple more questions. If you don't mind, I think we'll go back to, if there's any questions from Highland Drive Elementary, since there are technically 4 classes in that group. If there's any more questions from Highland Drive, I know we didn't get a chance to get a lot from there, but we're happy to take a couple more. We're glad to do that. Come on up.
What other parts to the farm would there be that piglets might be in or pigs might be in that we didn't see?
Sure.
Yeah. So besides this barn, like I wish I had a better picture of it. It's hard to walk around into different barns right now, but there are lots of mama pigs, and they'll be in group pens together, just big square group pens. And so it'll look like a big barn like this, but instead of individual pens for the mama and piglets, there'll be lots of big group pens. And so they look pretty similar as far as feeders and waterers go.
It's a great question. And Lauren, on other farms, then you said you move these baby pigs out to another farm. Would
Yeah.
those also go to a big pen then, or how would they be set up?
Yes, at the next farm that they go to, there will be different group pens, and they'll put so many piglets per pen, and then they all have a feeder, and it's an automatic feeder that allow them to have feed all day long, because when they're little, they're growing.
Okay, great. We also had a question come from Emerson, and he wanted to know how far away can pigs hear? And I don't know that I know the answer to that question. Emerson, Lauren, do you know?
No, I'm not sure, but they're really sensitive to sound. In the morning time, like when they're sleeping, as soon as I open the door, they hear me right away.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Highland Drive, did you have one more question maybe?
How much food do pigs eat?
Yeah, Lauren, how much food do the pigs eat in a month?
Oh, they eat a lot of food. I can't do the math right now in my head, but I would say a mama sow could eat up to 20 pounds of feed a day.
Yeah. 20 pounds. That's a lot. Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier that the mother pigs will eat about 5 pounds a day plus a pound for every piglet. Does that sound right? Yeah. And then
Yep.
as they get older, the full grown pigs right before they go to market could eat 5 pounds of food a day on the high end there. So it varies depending on where the pig is in their growth pattern. But yeah. Dan, do we have questions from other classrooms there that I'm not seeing on the screen? I think maybe one of the Cornerstone classes, the young lady standing there maybe has a question.
Oh, there.
There you go. Go ahead.
Are all of your pigs the same color?
It's a great question. Lauren, are all of your pigs the same color?
Most of them are, but sometimes they have different spots or colors. There's one further away. I can try to find a piglet with a spot on it
Sure.
to show you.
Yeah, that's a great question. We got that question this morning on a different trip. Lauren's going to go try and find you a pig with maybe some spots things on it. But we also have pigs in Ohio that are red in color. Some are black with a white stripe through them. We have pigs that are tan and red. We have some that have more of an orangish color to them. It all depends on the different breed. There's one with a black spot.
Yeah, this piglet has some spots on it.
Yep. That's a great question. Dan, I think I see somebody standing at Liberty Christian with a question maybe.
How can you tell if they're hurt?
They're hurt? Yeah, that's a great question. Lauren, how can you tell if the pigs are hurt?
Most of the time, it's if they hurt their leg, like if they fall, then they won't be able to get up.
Yeah. And Lauren, you probably spend quite a bit of time with these pigs, don't you? So you can pretty well tell when somebody's not feeling the best, can't you? Yeah, with the amount of time that every farmer spends with their pigs, they get a pretty good understanding of when the pigs are doing well and not doing well. So, well, do we have any other questions up there? I have a question here from Ben on how smart are pigs? Lauren, how smart are your pigs?
Pigs are pretty smart. If you put them in a bigger area, they'll know where their food and water is, and they'll go to the bathroom in a different area of the pen. When we used to walk our pigs to take to the fair, we could walk them all around the barnyard, and they would remember where their pen was to go back to it.
Yeah. Looks like, Dan, we have a question at Cornerstone in Miss Mark's class, maybe.
Okay, go. Hold on.
Back to the little piglets.
Alexis, keep your shirt on. You're on the screen. Go ahead.
Do you ever name the pigs?
Yeah, Lauren, do you ever name your pigs?
I have so many piglets, I don't usually name them. Sometimes we name the dad pigs so that we can keep track of them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, do we have any other questions? I don't see anybody else at the microphones. If we do, we'll be glad to take those real quick. Dan, am I missing anybody there? I don't see any. There we go.
How many kinds of pigs are there?
That is an excellent question. Lauren, do you know how many different types of breeds of pigs there are? I don't know that.
Yeah, I actually don't remember how many there are. There's lots.
There are. I will do some looking and see if I can find an answer to that question. In the meantime, I think we have another question at Liberty Christian.
What was your biggest pig that you had?
Yeah.
What was your biggest pig?
Lauren, what was the biggest pig you've had?
A lot of them around the same size, but we've had pigs around 600 pounds before. And a lot of times that's the dad pig. The dad pigs are bigger.
In answer to the question on the number of pigs, I am seeing close to 30 different types of breeds. That's not an exact count, but there's quite a few, everywhere from a spot to a saddleback to an Iberian to an Italian landrace to a Welsh. So there's lots of different types of breeds of pigs out there. And that's a great question. Well, unless somebody's waving around for another question quick, I wanted to take a moment and just thank everybody again for joining us. We sure hope you learned a lot during your time on the call, and you got to see some pretty good questions. We did just get a question up here, Lauren. Do the baby pigs play with toys?
Oh, no, they don't. They usually just play with each other.
Yeah. These have been fantastic questions, everyone, and I'd like to take some time to thank Miss Wool's class from Cornerstone Academy for being on. We appreciate your time. Miss Mark's class from Cornerstone, Miss Beck's class, the kindergarten class from Cornerstone, Mr. Mandansky's class, Miss Birchtold's third grade class from Highland Drive Elementary, and of course the folks at Liberty Christian Academy. If you guys have any questions about what we do or any other questions about pigs, feel free to reach out to us, but always feel free to check out our website at ohiopork.org. Again, that's ohiopork.org. If you don't mind, maybe we'll give Miss Lauren a quick round of applause from everybody for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.